What's going on, everybody? It's Stas here, and oh boy, did the stock market do well today, guys. The S&P 500 up 60 points, up 1.8%. The Dow Jones up 465 points, up 1.7%. And the NASDAQ 100 ended up going up 250 points, up 2.25% on the day. And in this video, we're going to be going over the markets a bit further, breaking down some technicals, going over the top stocks that I'm actually looking to buy as we're getting deeper into the month of October here in 2020. And I also want to go over what I've been doing, what stocks am I involved with, and let me tell you guys, I made some moves today, so stick on later in the video. We'll go over that. And we're also going to just talk about my mentality. What am I looking to do? Where my head is at right now as an investor, as a trader in this crazy environment that we're living in. So if you guys find value, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to check out all the free links down below. If you guys want to join the Strive Smart community, the Discord chat, the Facebook group are linked right down below, and you guys can get 2 free stocks from Webull valued up to $1,600, also right down below in the description box. So let's get into it, guys. Overall, today was a very good day for the bulls, especially here on the S&P 500. As we can see right off the bat on the hourly chart, the S&P was able to break 3380, which was the high from last week. And if you guys were watching my videos on Friday, Sunday, which was yesterday, I was talking about this is critical for the bulls. They must break 3380, 3390 on the S&P, and they did exactly that. Now we've solidified the uptrend, at least here in the short term, right? Over the past couple of days, we hit a higher high. That's looking very nice and dandy. But hold on there, bulls, because there's another big resistance coming up. This is the real test, in my opinion. 3420 to about 3430. This was a resistance back on the 8th of September, all the way up to about the 15th of September. And in my opinion, and you guys will probably agree with me, it's imperative for the S&P to break out of this level for a lot more momentum on the upside to come. Because if 3430 breaks, take a look at the next big resistance. The next big resistance on the S&P is going to be the all-time high right around 3590, which does give it around from 3430. If it breaks up to 3590, roughly a 4% upside from here. And let me tell you guys, if we get that stimulus package in the next couple of weeks before the election, even after the election, I think the markets are going to hit all-time highs. And it's basic economics, right? When there's money printing, right, the dollar gets devalued and it pushes up asset prices such as gold, real estate, stocks. So we're going to see naturally these stock prices go higher, real estate go higher, and commodities do well as well, such as silver, gold. We'll see if oil ever catches up. I mean, oil has been doing decent as of late, but we have to see what happens with the stimulus package. And again, if that comes, when it comes, as I do think we're going to get it, the markets are going to go bananas, in my opinion. And on the downside here, if we take a look on the S&P 500, if we were to pull down, an area that I'd like to see hold and consolidate above is going to be around 3380 to 3390. You guessed it, guys, right? If we pull down, I'd love to see the old resistance here from last week hold as a new support. Maybe we consolidate there tomorrow before we end up breaking out of 3430, but that's where I'd look to see if, just if, we were to pull down. And who knows, we might not pull down. We might just gap up tomorrow and go straight through 3430. That is also possible. And I'd love to know down below in the comments, what are your guys' thoughts, as always, when it comes down to the market breakdowns? I mean, I'd love to know where your guys' heads are at. So S&P 500, bulls are in charge, no doubt about it, with a big resistance coming up here at 3430. Dow Jones up almost 500 points today. Very strong day for the Dow Jones. The bulls are taking over in the short term, right, these past couple of days, but long term, we're still, and by long term I mean the past about 30 days, the Bears are still in charge. I mean, actually, no, that's not true. I take that back, guys. The Bulls have been in charge even in the past 20, 30 days for the past couple of days, right? But what I'm saying by the Bears having a bit of an edge here still is there's a big resistance at 28,200 for the Dow Jones. So until the Dow breaks out of 28,200, which was that resistance earlier in September, I think the Bears might have not an upper hand, but they still have kind of a pulling force on the market, right? Because let's say we get rejected at 28,200 on the Dow Jones, we might gap down. We might end up selling off a bit and maybe finding support around 27,500, which would be a bit worrisome from a bullish perspective. But if we ended up plowing right through 28,200 at that point, I don't see anything really from a technical perspective, at least, holding back the Dow Jones from going back to where it was back in the beginning of September, which is around 29,200. So it all depends on what happens here at 28,200 on the Dow Jones. This is very, very big. And at this point, the futures market, for what it's worth, the NASDAQ futures are up a little bit here, up about 0.05%. S&P futures are up about 0.02%, nothing crazy, and the Dow futures are up about 20 points, up 0.06%. So it seems like here as the futures market opened up, Dow, S&P, NASDAQ, they're all pushing up. So we'll see if that maintains into tomorrow. I'm very interested, as that will tell us, hey, in the short term, is the rally continuing, or are we going to be selling off potentially, right? And when it comes down to the NASDAQ, very similar as the S&P and the Dow Jones, the bulls are in charge in the short term, but there's a bit of a resistance here at about 11,500 on the NASDAQ 100, which is a big sticking point, right? And until the bulls break out of there, I think the bears have a bit of a pulling force on the NASDAQ as well, right? And we can see 11,500 has been a distance ever since the beginning towards the middle of September, and we got rejected there once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times, and we'll see tomorrow. Is tomorrow the 6th time that we get rejected there, or do we finally break out and maybe have another 2% day to the upside? That would be a very bullish indicator here on the NASDAQ 100 if that were to happen, right? If we were to pop about 1-2%. So we'll see, guys. Overall, we're in a very interesting spot, and now that I'm looking at this 4-hour chart, I'm noticing a reverse head and shoulder here on the NASDAQ as well, which very well could be bullish if, again, like I just said, if we break 11,500, take a look at what would happen. That would be the completion here of this right shoulder and the reverse head and shoulder, and we might be seeing those highs again. And by no means I'm saying we're going to see the highs tomorrow or the next day. It's probably going to take some time, but all I'm saying for sure is if 11,500 breaks, that's a reverse head and shoulder. We're most likely going higher. But the question is, how much higher? And only time will tell. And let me see, is there a reverse head and shoulder? Yeah, there's a reverse head and shoulder on the Dow as well, and the S&P probably. So keep an eye on that pattern. That's a very legitimate reverse head and shoulder right now. This could end up being a breakout. We just have to see how it plays and just keep an eye here on the futures market to see how that pans out over the next, let's say, 12 to 24 hours. So let me know your thoughts down below in terms of the market. And let's do a quick little president update here. As of Monday afternoon, the president remained at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center after first being taken to the hospital on Friday after he came down with the CV on Thursday, roughly. And he's going to be treated, obviously, for the virus. And he actually said on Twitter that he's planning on leaving the hospital at 6:30 p.m. on the East Coast, which is actually 30 minutes away from the time that I'm filming this video. So let's see. I mean, he's going to head back to the White House. That's good news in my opinion. That's good news, and he's on Twitter. You know, I don't know if this is legit or not. I don't know, but he's on Twitter saying, I'm doing well, getting better. Don't let the CV bring you down and so forth. So I guess he's feeling better, guys. I guess he's feeling better. And again, I'm not trying to be political or anything. I'm not sure if he's downplaying it or not. He might be, but by the sounds of it on Twitter, he's doing fine. So I guess that is good for the market at the end of the day. But what the market cares more about is stimulus. So we're still battling there. We'll see how that ends up panning out. And again, I'd love to know your thoughts down below in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. So let's talk about now what I personally did. And I ended up locking in profits here on Advanced Micro Devices, ticker symbol AMD, on this insane rally today. It went up over 5%. And if you guys watched my videos last week, I ended up getting into AMD around $82.25. I locked in some profits, I believe, the following day after I got into the position at about $84.50. So I locked in some profits there. We sold off a bit, back down to pretty much where my average cost is, actually under my average cost of $82.25. But you guys can see from $81 after that sell-off Friday, we ended up going all the way up to almost $86.50 today. So I had to lock in some profits, guys, at this point on AMD. I actually locked in the position completely at around $86, right around the close of the market. At this point, it saw a massive move above $83. We broke the highs from last week. We hit a higher high, and we're arguably a little overbought here on the 4-hour chart. So I figured, let me lock in profits. They also have an event coming up, I believe, on Thursday, which I'm a bit skeptical holding through events like that. It's kind of similar with how I treat earnings. I don't like holding my short-term trades through earnings periods. I'm not a big earnings guy. I don't like playing earnings. It's a bit too risky for me, but and that's kind of how I'm viewing this event with AMD. So we'll see what happens. If the stock tanks after the event, which might not happen, I might miss out on a lot of gains, which is okay. But if it tanks after the event, or it sees some sort of pull down in the next couple of days, maybe by the end of the week, maybe next week, I might get back into it. We'll see how it goes. And I also ended up getting into Virgin Galactic today as a swing trade. I got in this one earlier in the day at about $21.30. So I actually bought it close to the peak here, but I'm not worried whatsoever because, believe it or not, I think $21, $22, anything honestly under $23, $24 is a pretty good price here for the stock, considering my price target at this point is around $25 in the short term. $25 is my first price target. Then above that, probably around $27.50, which is where we got back in the middle towards the end of July. Then above that, maybe around $30 is a longer term price target, which is about $9 above from where we are now. So I'm loving Virgin Galactic here, guys. We ended up breaking $21, which is exactly what we talked about yesterday. We popped to about $21.60. We pulled down. We held $21 and rallied into the close. That is very bullish in my opinion. And speaking of Virgin Galactic, there's a couple of call options I'm looking at as well. I'm actually looking at the January 2021 $25 calls. There's a lot of open interest on those calls. Those are about 100 days out at about $25, which again is my first price target on Virgin Galactic, so I might consider maybe picking up some contracts there. And if I'm a bit more risky, I have a bit more appetite for risk. If I'm feeling it, maybe the $30 calls could be a good play. $30 calls on January, same day, but instead of $25 calls, $30 calls. And obviously, with that farther strike price, there's more risk. There's a lot more risk, but there's more reward with a $30 strike price as opposed to a $25 strike price when it comes down to those options. So I'm watching Virgin Galactic for those option plays. I'm not in quite yet on the option side, but I did, again, pick up shares at $21.30, and I'm still in Workhorse here, guys, which did pretty well today, up about 3.4%. I'm in at about $24-ish on this particular stock, and we're at a crossroads, right? We're making lower lows at the same time as we're making lower highs. Actually, no, wait. I meant higher lows at the same time as we're making lower highs, right? You guys can see it. So we're in this wedge here, and we're going to have to pick a direction sooner or later, probably at some point this week, whether we're breaking out, going back up to the high 20s, or if we break down, go back down to, let's say, this 180 SMA on the 4-hour chart. We might be going back down to the 20s, low 20s, but honestly, I don't see it going much under $20, and if it does, I'll be loading the boat. So either way, guys, I'm excited about Workhorse. If it goes up, I make money. If it goes down, I just buy more. So it's kind of a win-win situation there, and I'm still in EA Electronic Arts at about 131.20. This is a longer-term swing for me. I'm bullish on the video game stocks, and the trend is holding up. I'm loving it, but all we need to see is a break above 134, 135. That is where I think an explosion could come in this particular stock, and good old Apple is my biggest swing at this point. I don't know why I mentioned it last, but this is my biggest swing position. I don't want to say by far. Actually, it might actually be by far my biggest swing position at this point. I'm in with a pretty good amount of shares, and today it was up 3%, up $3.50. It did very well as tech. Tech did very well today, so of course Apple's going to do well. And overall, it's holding the uptrend. Now, all we have to break out of is 118, the good old 118 resistance, which we've struggled there last week, a couple weeks ago. It's also the 180 SMA resistance here on the 4-hour chart. So this is a must break on Apple, and if it does, that is where I think a lot of the gain is going to come. And speaking of Apple, there's a big event around the iPhone coming up here, I believe on October 15th or something like that, or the 13th. So watch out for that event. And, I'm bullish Apple a lot right now. I might even add more shares if it breaks 119. We'll see what ends up happening. So watch out for those. Those are the ones that I'm personally in. And quick disclaimer, guys, just because I'm buying stocks, just because I'm in a couple of stocks here, doesn't mean that you have to go out and buy them, right? Always do your own due diligence. Always do your own research when it comes down to buying and selling stocks. I'm by no means a financial advisor here. So let me know your comments down below. And by the way, if you're enjoying the video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as I will be doing a good giveaway for you guys at 25,000 subscribers, for my appreciation to you all for sticking with me for all these years at this point, guys. So subscribe to the channel, and let's get into some other stocks here. DKNG is DraftKings, and they actually announced today a public offering of 32 million shares of common stock, 16 million of those shares being offered by the company, and another 16 million from selling shareholders, right, from existing shareholders selling out. So the stock is down 5% today, down $3.20. It hit a peak of about $65. Now it's down to about $60. So I'm loving this, and of course, as shares are coming in, it's going to bring the stock's price down naturally, but it's not going to last, in my opinion, for a long time. It's kind of like a sudden shock to the stock. So we might see it drop maybe to the mid-50s at most, maybe down, let's say, the low 50s. But either way, I'm thinking DraftKings is a buy, especially in the short term, especially if we get $50 to a $55 stock price, right? I think that'd be a very nice entry point on DraftKings, giving it a lot of potential, maybe back up to $65. That could be around a 10-15% move, but there's a lot of risks, right? If the NFL gets postponed, canceled, whatever, with all of these positive cases, that might end up affecting companies like DraftKings and especially the stock. So I'd be careful there, but overall there is some potential on DraftKings, DKNG, and Grubhub is another one here that I'm liking, especially with today's breakout of $74, big resistance here stemming back from the beginning of July and pretty much all here in the month of September. So the fact that we broke $74, trading at about $74.50 now, that is a very bullish sign for Grubhub, right? And at this point, I mean, we broke out of this wedge that you guys see here on the upside, which again is bullish. And I'm thinking for price targets here, first one I have on Grubhub is $76.30. That's a resistance from back on the 5th of August. And let's zoom in a bit here on, let's say, the 30-day chart. Actually, no, let's go back to that 90-day chart maybe. 90-day chart, this is perfect. You guys can see after 86 or 76 rather, we have maybe 77.70. That's a big resistance. Then above that, maybe around 79.40, which was the high from back, when was this? The middle of August. So Grubhub at this point, there's potential up to the mid to high 70s. So I'm liking this particular stock here. Same with NVDA. NVDA ended up doing very well, up 4.5% today. We broke out of 530. That was a big resistance. Let me show you guys here if I extend this to the right. 530, big resistance. We actually held it as a support as well, rallied right through it. And now we're about to test last week's highs at about 550, 555. And this is where I think NVIDIA could see another explosive move. If it breaks 555, as that again is a big resistance, and there's a long ways to go. Well, not really a long ways to go. It's about 30 points, but from 555 up to about 590, that's about 6%. So we could see another 6% move in store here for NVIDIA, especially if the markets continue pushing up, and more importantly, if tech continues pushing up, NVIDIA is going to continue just crushing it, in my opinion. And speaking of tech, Netflix, finally, Netflix saw a move today. I mean, it's been moving, but overall, it's been kind of a dead stock ever since the beginning of July, other than this volatility. I mean, there's been volatility up and down, but it hasn't really gone higher than 570. So at this point, with the breakout above 510, now we're trading at about 520 here after hours. That's great. That's a good move, a bullish move here. We broke 510. Now we could be fiddling with those levels that we haven't been at since the beginning of September, right around 560, and back in the middle of July, right around 575. So take a look here on the 4-hour, guys. This is pretty bullish in my opinion, especially if Netflix is able to break 525. That's another big resistance. Don't get trapped here, guys. This is important because 525, if we fail there, we might be going right back down. But if we break above it, that's where I think a lot of momentum is going to come, from 525 up to 550. So I might as well just set an alert here on this one at 525 if it breaks that point. And we'll talk about this in the chat, guys, so make sure to join the chat. But if it breaks that point, I'm probably going to be entering into Netflix here. And another one is MasterCard, ticker symbol MA, that I'm liking. It's about $24 off its highs at 367. That's about a 6% potential here. And I'm thinking if we're able to break the highs from last week, right around 545, right around where we closed today, we could see another leg up in MasterCard, right? Maybe back up to those 550 or 350 to about 360 levels, right? Excuse me, guys. But yeah, MasterCard, I'm bullish, and they are paying a dividend. Oh, so that's nice. I'll be getting a nice little dividend payment there, as I do own this in my long-term accounts as well. So watch out for MasterCard. 545, or no, why do I keep saying 545? 345 to 350. That's a big resistance here. And DPHC and Helion today, guys. We saw a lot of movements in these SPACs today. DPHC ended up dumping down earlier to the low 20s, ended up closing down 0.5%. And if you guys didn't know, this is the SPAC taking Lordstown Motor public, which is an electric vehicle company here that actually the president was in a video with about a week and a half ago that actually shot the stock up, going over the truck called the Endurance. And I like this company, right? I like this company. Workhorse actually has 10% stake in DPHC, or actually, let me say Lordstown Motors. And at this point, they're down about $8 off the highs, down about 30% almost. We're approaching a big support from the 24th of September, right around $20-21, as well as that 180 SMA. So this could end up being an opportunity, quite honestly. I think there's potential in DPHC, especially if it's able to break this little wedge that I just drew and get back into the mid-20s. I think there's a lot of potential. And another one is HYLN, which I'm a bit more not speculative of, but I'm a bit more cautious with this one as opposed to DPHC, although both of them are volatile in nature. But HYLN at this point is down about $20 off its highs, over 35% down, and it seems like we're approaching a point in the trend where it should hold the uptrend if the bulls are willing to bid it up. If 37 holds, if we get back into the 40s, and especially mid-40s, this could be a stock that does end up doing extraordinarily well in the short term. Maybe back up to those $50 levels. But again, this market, electric vehicles, the SPAC market, it's a bit volatile, so be careful, guys. Both of these, HYLM, DPHC, there's a lot of potential, but there's a lot of volatility as well. So the last one that I want to go over is good old eBay, ticker symbol EBAY, which you guys can see here is down a good chunk, down about $10 from its highs, down about 16%. We're getting into a point where we're holding a big support. I mean, we are at a point where we're holding 47, and we're also downtrending, and we're getting into this wedge, right? And I'd like to get into eBay once it breaks out of this wedge, let's say above $53.50 to about $54. I think that could be a great price on eBay, but until then, it could go down further. I mean, it could end up going back and testing $47, which could also be a good entry point. So I'm watching eBay anywhere from $47 on the low end, maybe to $52 on the high end. We could end up getting in on an entry point. So overall, guys, those are the main stocks I'm watching right now. Let me run through them very quickly. Let me name them off for you if you guys want to write them down. AMD, Virgin Galactic, Workhorse Group, Electronic Arts, Apple, DKNG, also known as DraftKings, Grubhub, GRUB, NVIDIA, Netflix, MasterCard, DPHC, Helion, however you want to call it, HYLN, as well as eBay. So that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, make sure to do that, hit that notification bell, and also leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. What are your thoughts on the stock market? Where are we headed? What are you guys personally doing? And if you guys want 2 free stocks from Webull, check out the link down below. Literally free money. At minimum, the stocks are valued at $8 and at maximum $1,600. So all you have to do is deposit $100, and that's when you get the 2 free stocks. So yeah, link down below, as well as the Discord and the Facebook. I'll catch you guys in the next video. I hope you guys did well today. Thanks for watching. As always, stay safe out there. Peace out.